That's fucking gross.
Want to learn how to get crisp pixelation in your renders?
What?
Has this ever happened to you? Oh, that looks pretty clean. So I'm pretty sure if you've ever done pixel art anything you've ran into this image, video scaling problem before. Well, worry not, I have a solution. But before we get into that, let's go over what the point of this video is. Also, as a side note, if you're wondering where the sides of my screen have gone, don't worry, they are still there, I haven't lost them.
Oh, hello there!
Now obviously people haven't had any issues with pixel art so far, and the simple fix for adding that style in 3D would be to just slap a mosaic filter on. But this isn't 2008. We have technology now. And when you compare a simple filter to the real deal, you can clearly see which is the better one. Now some of you might say, well, why don't you just render at a higher resolution instead of upscaling it? Well, it's not that simple, my little kitten. Because for a lot of programs the easiest and best way to get this style is to just render at a low resolution with no interpolation or anti-aliasing. It's also better if you can render at a lower resolution because it can save you a lot of time. For example, this 1080p render took me _insert time_ while this one took less than a minute. And this is with a big old 3800X, so if you have a less beefy CPU or GPU, this time save is a lot greater. However, the issue comes when you create an animation with a low resolution and try to upscale it in Premiere.
And stare at me with them big old eyes.
Because for some unknown reason that not even the gods can explain, you can't fucking choose what sampling method to use when scaling. And if you try to look up why, Adobe just says, "'Cause Premiere is good." But this issue isn't just about pixel animations, it's about upscaling anything that's low resolution like old console game recordings, or if you simply just don't want any interpolation in whatever you make. Alright. So now that we're done with my TED talk, let's get into how to get those crisp peaks, and to do that we first gotta get some footage. For this I'll be using Maya. I know it's not the most popular software, so I won't get into how I set this scene up to get this look for now, because all we need is a quick render. So, if I pop out a quick image, you can see that I'm rendering at 256 by 144, quite the low resolution, but I like the vibe that it gives. And this might just seem like a random resolution, but the resolution you pick is very important. Because if it doesn't divide cleanly into your end resolution, in this case 1080p, it won't look as clean. I'll leave this great list of every true 16:9 resolution in the description. Alright, so with that out of the way, now all I have to do is render out this little animation. Perfection. We now have this image sequence that we can do stuff with, but before we do said stuff, I want to show how easily you can upscale in Photoshop to help you all understand how stupid this issue is. Okay, we got an image in here, and while we are at it, let's get a click counter in here. Alright, and let's also get a timer in here to see how complicated this process is. Nice. Alright, so it might not be the world record glitchless run I was going for, but you can get an idea of how easy this is in anything other than Premiere. And honestly, if you wanted to, you could upscale every image in your sequence with this method, but even I have standards, low standards, but standards nonetheless. So the first thing you want to do is open up After Effects. Alright, I think it's good now, so just open up a new composition, import your footage into this bad boy and smack it into the timeline. Now you want to go into composition settings and change it to your final resolution, then right click your footage and transform it to fit composition. At this point you might notice that your footage looks like boo-boo trash, but worry not, just go down to this quality button and click it until it looks like this. And with that part done, and you can just hit add to media encoder queue to export an MP4 or whatever flavor you like, and it should look pretty good. The only step after this is to put it into Premiere and you should be good from there. I know this wasn't difficult or overly complicated to warrant a whole tutorial, but it took me a while to get to this solution. And it didn't help that any forums I would go to were just full of people going, why would you want to upscale that anyways, you smooth brain, or it is physically impossible to upscale by that much, there just simply isn't enough data. So I hope this helped some of y'all out there with your home artistic journey. And if there are any of you going, well, I don't have Photoshop or After Effects, I highly recommend getting them. But if you can't afford it, because Adobe definitely needs to charge $40 a month for its stellar software because they care so much about the user and not at all about the money, I absolutely do not recommend anyone go and thoroughly research how to somehow obtain this software for free, because not only would that be a no-no, it would be an illegal no-no. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.